My name is Agatha Gichana and welcome back to the Vellum podcast. This is your go-to space for public policy and socioeconomic issues unpacking. But for this special episode, it's very, very special for us. Now, Vellum is an offering of Oxygène marketing and communication. And we're ever so proud to be part of an initiative that is going to create social impact, create awareness about some of the most not really talked about health issues in the community. We want to be part of a great initiative to empower community, and this is the Gifts of Purpose initiative. I know you're all very curious to find out what this initiative is about, so I'm not going to preempt because the forces behind this initiative have joined us in this episode. So I'll let them do the introductions and tell us about Gifts with Purpose.
So my name is Mwende Musunga. I'm the Managing Director for Cerba Lancet Kenya. I'm responsible for the East African region. We decided to be involved in the Gifts with Purpose initiative, originally started by Fashion on the Road, because as you've introduced, it's going to have a lot of impact, we believe. And we want to ensure that we increase awareness on the disease that we're going to talk about also. We increase access to diagnostic testing, and we ensure that those who are getting access on that diagnostic testing have quality associated with it. All this now enables the clinicians make an impact with their patients, from curative probably to preventative.
Carol, I think you're the centerpiece of this initiative.
Yeah.
Please tell us about it.
So my name is Carol Kinoti, and I'm a fashion designer. I'm the founder of Fashion on the Road, Africa. Fashion on the Road is an initiative that is based on fashion solutions and using skills that are fashion-related to empower women in the communities. As the name suggests, we travel across different counties as we engage with women, youth, and people with disabilities in order to refine their skills, standardize products, and link them to markets. This particular initiative mission, which is Gifts with Purpose, is a model developed to link the products to market, but at the same time, link the women of the communities with a health solution that they are not able to get from because of how they are positioned and where they belong to.
Yeah, my name is Nick Washira. I'm the Managing Director and founder of Oxygène. We've been working with Cerba Lancet and Mwende, I think, for over 5 years. So when she came to me and told me, I want to introduce you to somebody, and she brought along Carol, and she gave this mind-blowing idea of what she was doing, especially first with the value chains in fashion, where sustainable fashion, which is a very problematic issue right now in the world because of waste and the social consciousness and the environmental impact of sustainable fashion. And then the idea of using this initiative, Gifts with Purpose, I think it tied in very, very well with the mission of Cerba Lancet and ourselves and you. In a world where trust is in deficit, when brands can't communicate about purpose, this sounded like a really solid initiative where you can demonstrate actual impact on the ground. So our role comes in educating the consumer about the health benefits that Monde will talk about, and also building trust in community, in technology, in what we are trying to do, for the good of society.
Right now that you're introduced to Gifts with Purpose, I think I'd want us for just to peel back the layers, right? Go into why in particular we came up with this gift box. Healthcare for us has become quite a centerpiece with conversations in Kenya right now with the transformation and shift from NHIF to SHA. Recent data has actually showed us that only 1 in 4 Kenyans are insured. And I can only imagine, Carol, with the kind of women that you work with, that access to healthcare is even much lower than that. So what inspired for us to go into Gifts with Purpose and focus on women empowerment and focus on healthcare advocacy?
When I embarked on this journey, all that I was looking for is somebody to add value to my product. And as we did that, the typical way of working with women in the fashion industry in the communities is you sit around a table, you have tea, and you talk about what's going on with your family. The same patterns were repeating themselves in different communities. Health, education, shelter, safety became almost like a common conversation. Our role is not to go and give and live, is to live to ensure that at least a skill and development has been left in the form of impact in the society, we realize as fashion on the road, the same consumer that benefits from the product that we make with the women could easily be the same ones that can drive impact on matters health back to the same community. And we can use the vehicle as a voice of this community is lacking this. I'll give you an example of a woman in Turkana, in a valley called Sukuta Valley. The nearest hospital is 75 kilometers away. They lose at least 4 women every month as they're looking for the basic maternal attention. So sexual health is such a big deal when it comes to women in the communities, and they cannot access. So this kit, the reason why it's a box and it's a kit, is because as much as they cannot get health, it's the same way they cannot get market. Why? Because some of those communities cannot even access technology. In the spirit of shared value, this box has products that have been handled by the cotton grower of Busia, the tailor of Kibera, the beader of Kajiado, and they share this box, and this box meets the consumer as a shared value kit, hence the empowerment.
Listening to you, Caro, I think I can hear the passion that you have about these products and especially healthcare. And I'm curious to know, how did you choose the partners to come on board for the Gifts with Purpose initiative? What informed you? Because you would have worked with a lot of people, right?
Yes.
A lot of people would have come on board. So why Oxygène and why Cerba Lancet?
By the time we closed the year last year, we knew that health would be the first area of conversation. I'm not an expert in the health business. I'm not technically equipped to speak on matters health. But our model allows partnerships and collaborations with people who have the strength that you do not have. So naturally, when they, being a friend and also somebody I've known for very long, especially when it comes to matters of impact, I thought that this was a conversation we could have. Cerba Lancet is very well networked. They start from the point of testing, which is very important before you even intervene with a solution. And where we are with the problems of health, we need to first understand what the problem is. So the attraction for me was the professionalism when it comes to ability to test and a brand that's trusted. Therefore, we are not entangled with the wrong people. So naturally, after we aligned with Cerba Lancet, the obvious question was, how do we get people to know about this? How far can this go? There's a lot of potential in this. We all spend money on gifts. Corporates are gifting every season during every event. How do we make sure as many people as possible know? And from Cerba Lancet, the name Oxygène came up as a media partner, being a crucial partner in the first phases of gifting with the purpose. Yeah.
I'd like for us to unpack those different facets of the partnership. You've mentioned Cerba Lancet and also the aspect of healthcare. I was reading somewhere actually that cervical cancer is the second most common form of cancer. And I think one day you can speak more to this, how you got interested and actually attracted to this partnership, and also tie it back to what you do at Cerba Lancet.
When Carol mentioned to me, about what she does and the interest in expanding, access to health, I must say it was a no-brainer that I would want to participate in this and also have my organization involved in this as well. So the next step was, okay, how do we make sure we pack it in a way that is going to have impact for the people that she works with? And having mentioned that health is, really critical, drilling down to what is also the government's thinking, right? And so we wanted to align with something that the Ministry of Health also is currently, focusing on, and cervical cancer is one of them. And HPV testing is, pivotal in that. So the next thing was, okay, we want to focus on women, we want to focus on health, we're going into sexual reproductive health. What product or what test do we have that, aligns with all those things? And of course, then the HPV, self collection and testing was the number one product that came in. And, as we went on, discussing with Carol, there were very many touching stories that she shared with me. And I realized that if we have women testing for something in the comfort of their home, we will remove some stigma associated with it, because then they take control of their own, health. They're able to be in their home, collect the sample, send it to us, we do the testing, and then we link them up to care if that is necessary. So we also have then a partnership, or we started discussing with the Kenyan Gynecological Society, and they were interested also to come on board, because what happens to that woman if she's found to have, it's positive and there's something that needs to be taken care of, we needed to close then the loop. To make sure that, okay, Carol has the women who are maybe marginalized, they're making some nice products, we're giving them opportunity to test, and then we link them up with care, and then with the doctor being able to carry on to the next stage. And you see all this then aligns together with what the government is trying to do with increasing awareness on cervical cancer. As you've said, the statistics are scary in terms of how many women die because of cervical cancer for something that, if was caught early, would have been totally preventable.
I think as a woman, I'm pretty excited about the aspect of self-collection. One of the most challenging bits about getting tested for HPV is the traditional methods that are used for testing for HPV, and that really limits a lot of women from seeking the care that they need. And another part of that aspect is also lack of awareness, right? People don't know that these tools are out there, that they are offered by organizations like Cerba Lancet, and they can use them actually to collect and be able to get the care that they need. Which also ties back to the aspect of communication. Are people aware that actually cervical cancer is a huge, huge threat? And secondly, that it's actually preventable, which brings us back to Oxygène marketing and communications. I think storytelling is a very powerful form of advocacy. Oxygène is a creative and innovative agency. So how do you see Oxygène coming in to bridge that gap of lack of awareness and getting women and communities the access to healthcare that they need?
Speaking of Ministry of Health, and we've had extensive experience in our healthcare practice in working with the government, even for free. So we're not in this to make money. So we worked on the work for corona, for instance, when the disease just first broke. So I think like HPV is a disease that is not widely understood by public. And there's a lot of work that needs to be done by the public sector and the private sector, entities like Cerba, and even the pharmaceutical companies, in consumer education and advocacy at the community level. There is also a trend in which people are starting to fear vaccines. So that whole environment needs a lot of special skills in crisis communication and communicating sensitive messages, and working with community groups to just foster trust and understanding, and also consumer action. Because it's one thing to know about something, but if you don't take action, it's not, you won't be helped. The other thing about Gifts with Purpose is to inspire action by people who can. If you can buy this box, it will go to benefit maybe a woman that is related to you, a mother, a sister, or auntie, or a member of community, an employee. So for us, we've been encouraging our employees to buy the box and actively nominate people they want to do the testing and educate them. So we are part of propagating the idea to the public.
We've spoken at length about the Gifts of Purpose initiative. So a lot of us are wondering about what is in the box. So Carrie, if you could take us through the items and even tell us what inspired you picking those specific items.
Okay. About 2 years ago, I was sent to Busia by Strathmore Business School to train and have a conversation with cotton growers, organized through the cooperative model. By the time the conversation was done in the village and in the farms, we realized that Kenyans are not even consuming made in Kenya products, as simple as cotton, using and wearing cotton. My promise to that community was I will drive the agenda of developing 100% Kenyan, made in Kenya cotton products in order to drive the growth in terms of the consumption and the requirement of how much cotton is required from the farmers so that the farmers can make more money. And it was of a big concern to me that even as farmers and being in the industry for very long still do not wear cotton-made products. That was my cue at first to say, whatever it is that I put together needs to be made out of 100% Kenyan cotton. I went into the industry and I looked for a manufacturer that aligns with that agenda of made in Kenya, and Thicker Clothing Mills was the first one on my table. And together we decided to develop the fabric, which of course was a low-hanging fruit for them. And she asked me, what do I do with the fabric? What do you want to use the fabric from? So I looked at the Kenyan behavior of using and purchase, and it's driven by seasons, either of Christmas or Valentine's or events that are aligned to patriotism. Those are the driving factors when it comes to prints. So we developed these prints based on how we use the product and how Kenyan behavior when it comes to season. The matter around health was sitting at the back of my mind, and I was wondering, how do I take back solutions to these same communities for health-related problems? I knew the best way to have this conversation is through conversations, because conversations is where we drive policy change. Conversations is where we discuss what is eating us up. And we might have those kind of conversations here in a panel, but when we go to the village, we have them on the ground as we are bidding. So that influenced the table runner, because Africans talk while they are eating.
Yeah, around the table.
Around the table. So this does not mean all the gifting with purpose products will be based on the table runner. No. But the conversation is beginning now. So as we eat made in Kenya, products grown in Kenya, or use products that are made out of Kenyan products, we need to have these conversations. And that's what influenced the table essentials kit. So in this box, like I said, this is a shared value kit. It's made in a way that when you receive it, you appreciate the box.
It's very colorful.
You understand? Yeah, you appreciate the box. On the top of the box, you will find the conversations that are going on and how to be able to be a part of this conversation. And clearly at the back, there's how to join the caravan and become a part of this by either nominating a community or supporting a community that's pre-existing. We have our presence across 16 counties and across all the Kenya prison services today. So we have a very wide reach when it comes to who it is that will receive the support, depending on the nomination that will be made. So in the kit, the first item, like we said, is a table runner. And this table runner is 100% made out of Kenyan cotton, from farm to fashion. You understand? The knitting and the stitching has been done by the women of Shofco in Kibera, in collaboration with the National Youth Service, tailors, etc. And then we have the table mats. They're all standardized, meaning it can fit different kinds of dining tables and coffee tables. We typically have your table mats here. And like I said, the idea is the conversations need to start having about our sexual reproductive health. And this collaboration here is beginning that conversation. All right? The other thing that you'll find in the kit, which is very important, is this coupon. So this coupon is inserted in the kit. When you purchase this box, you need to nominate who benefits from the test. This could easily be yourself. It could be the woman that participated in this process. It could be your sister or your auntie or your girlfriend. At the end of the day, you're not only just buying a table linen set or a table mat or just a gift. You're empowering somebody by ensuring that they've been tested for cervical cancer. So that is the beauty about gift with purpose. You'll also find inside the box tags that are telling stories, of the communities that we've worked with. Over here, you can see the tag from Shofco. When you go to the link, when you click onto this code, you'll engage with the women that are actually producing the table mats. So this empowerment kit, money has already gone to a woman's pocket. Somebody has already learned a skill, and now we want to make sure that they are tested for cervical cancer.
I'd like to highlight the coupon. The coupon gives them access to the brush.
The brush.
Maybe Mwende can take us through.
Mwende can take you through what happens from at the moment you buy the kit.
Maybe one thing to just correct is, we're not necessarily testing for cervical cancer, but we're testing for HPV, right? And HPV is known as one of the causes for cervical cancer.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's important to make. In the kit, you will get this coupon. And the coupon will have, number one, if you scan here, you will come and get the information about cervical cancer. And number two, you will also get information about HPV and the brush that we're going to, just briefly going to show you. And also it will show you how to collect the sample yourself. So this gives you control completely, because you can do it in the privacy of your home. You're taking control of it yourself. You have instructions on how to make sure you collect it properly, and then eventually we will guide you on how to make sure the sample reaches us. So as Carol mentioned, is you nominate yourself, your friend, your sister, your mother, or the community from which some of this product has been made from. And I think that's really going to be impactful, because depending on who's buying it, you might say, okay, I feel I want to do as part of my individual social responsibility. I want to feel I have given impact, or I've taken care of a woman in Kajiado, in Turkana, as she was mentioning, the cotton growers, etc. So that becomes impactful, that those who are not able to have access to it can begin the process of taking care of themselves. When you get in touch with us, then we will send to you the sample collection kit, which has the Evelyn brush. The Evelyn brush, why we chose this one as an organization, number one is it makes it easier also for us in terms of testing. It's compliant with what we require. It's a brush made by a woman for women. So I would like to believe that, as a woman, she thought of all the things that, would be necessary and make it comfortable for the woman doing the collection. And it's very discreet. It'll come in a box. You open it, you follow the prompts that will be here, the instructions, do the collection as instructed, and return it to us, and we'll give you a call, or you give us a call to make sure we have the collection. In addition, what you will notice, just to make sure that it's also secure, there will be a code here which will be unique for every single box that is purchased. So we're able also to check the impact. Where is it going? The people who are buying the box interested more in self-testing, or are they willing to do social responsibility or individual social responsibility to another woman somewhere in the village or the communities that Carol is working on? So that gives a lot of opportunity and choice for whomever is purchasing it to just really make an impact in society.
I think that is very exciting. You talk about opportunity, you talk about choice, and I can only imagine, even amongst women who have access to healthcare, getting tested for HPV can be quite intrusive. So I can only imagine for a woman in a marginalized community, Kajiado, how hard and just how high the barriers are for that particular person. Another thing I found quite interesting in the box is the storytelling bits where you can scan and know the story. Sometimes we forget the stories behind such initiatives. And if you happen to buy the box, who are you in particular going to help? I think storytelling can be quite a powerful tool for advocacy. And that brings me back to you, Nick. Apart from the storytelling aspect, building trust around healthcare initiatives, really dismantling misinformation and disinformation about healthcare initiatives. As a business owner, why do you think it's important for business to be part of such initiatives? It could be, maybe for another business person would be like, what's the return on investment on this, right? So why is it important for businesses to also be part of community initiatives, healthcare advocacy initiatives such as this one?
I personally believe in doing something for society and community. So it's part of our core values that we exist to do good, either by providing meaningful jobs, providing meaningful advice to clients that would advance their agendas, or by educating people so that you can have a healthy and thriving community. I think it's the right thing to do. Also for companies, because I think we're interested in having corporate partners investing in this, not just us. Many companies are always looking for meaningful causes to support, and gifts with a purpose comes with an actual proof point that there is a human being who actually did something that added value to society.
At the end of this initiative, I'm sure all of us are well-meaning about the Gifts of Purpose initiative. At the end of it, what is the impact that we expect to see in the respective communities that we work in? What are your expectations by the end of this initiative?
So for me, it would be, number one, increase awareness of HPV, and hopefully at the end of it, make sure that there's a woman who's impacted, whose life would be saved. That's the first thing, as Carol had mentioned. The second thing is to have, more people, as Nick mentioned, corporates joining this caravan, as Carol called it, and coming on board and saying, okay, we just don't want to do corporate gifts without purpose. And the name was really beautiful when we eventually came up with it, Gifts with Purpose. That becomes a very pivotal part for me, that we have more people joining the organization. And this obviously ties into our mission as an organization. Number one, increasing access to healthcare, ensuring that everybody has quality diagnostics. So those, I would say, are my two top priorities: increasing access to care and the awareness, such that these conversations begin to happen or are happening frequently without the stigma associated, and that we play a part in that. I'm totally excited about it.
For me, my expectation would be to achieve our initial mission, which is to increase the consumption of made in Kenya products. So, for example, to keep it simple, I would love to see the women of Busia increasing the acreage for cotton growing. I would love to see the women of Kibera producing more table napkins, because the demand is quite high. And I would love to see those same communities now accessing healthcare or being tested for HPV. So for me, that would be a success story. The products, like I said, do not have to stay within the table linen, because the range will widen. But as we speak, the fashion industry, we have the cotton growers, and we also have the leather industry. So a success case would be when demand for the products actually drives health solutions and economic empowerment to the communities.
So, Carol, you're talking about increasing the demand for made in Kenya products, and at the same time also increasing healthcare access, especially for the kind of communities that you work in.
Yeah.
I think, Nick, you could also speak to maybe call to action for other corporates to come on board, just as Cerba Lancet and also just as Oxygène has joined this meaningful partnership.
Absolutely. We'll call on to other corporates to come in, encourage their employees to purchase the gift, also do it as a corporate gifting during the various seasons, especially like Christmas, which is just around the corner.
There's one other interesting one that we could look at for individuals during the Christmas season. I would imagine giving this to your mother, right? You've bought
As
for
a
your
Christmas
mother as a
gift.
Christmas gift, a nice linen, package, table runner and table mats, and then on top of that, maybe for her, get her tested or donate that to somebody else. It would be really lovely to have something like that on the exactly. The festive season is coming up, so it's to think around when we're giving the gifts during the festive season. Like, I'm making an impact as an individual. I'm doing something that, will take care of another woman. Whether you're male or female, I think that's a beautiful thing with this box. Yeah, it could be, Nick, buying for yourself or for, your family, this particular box. You have it on your table, and then you're giving this to somebody else. So both male and female can really be involved in changing somebody's life.
I think it's important for me to add that all this is made here locally. So corporate organizations are very keen on their brand colors. It's possible to customize to suit their brand colors.
I think we've had quite an inspiring conversation. I hope that this will be an interesting precursor to the rest of the series that you're going to have on HPV awareness and by extension cervical cancer, and most importantly about the items that are in the Gifts of Purpose box. I hope that you have been inspired, not just as an individual, but also any other corporate body that is thinking about what are the meaningful partnerships, what are the meaningful conversations that we can be part of. Gifts with Purpose is one of them, and there are many others. We hope that, as Carol would say, that you join the caravan, that you join the movement. And if you want to be part of this initiative, you'll be able to get this particular package on fashionontheroad.africa. That has been it. Thank you for listening all through. My name is Agatha Gichana, and keep it Vellum.